Yeah.
Well, you got lucky. Women like the ring, don't they? They like the way it looks. And if you go and talk to jewelers, he drug me around to some this week. We didn't buy nothing, praise the Lord. But she definitely drove me through there. They told me about the 4 C's of jewelry. The cut, the clarity, the color, and the carat. Man, that sounds like a Brother Jim sermon wrapped up in a jewelry story. But they learned, what they taught me was that these 4 variables determine or calculate the value of each jewel, of each diamond. And what they said is this: the most important out of all of those 4 C's is the cut. When talking about a diamond in particular, that the cut is the most interesting and intricate part. And I'm going to read this, I don't mess it up, but it says this: that the cut refers to the proportions, the finish, the symmetry, and the polish of the diamond. It actually is what brings it out. And what they told me was this: that the more you cut the diamond, the more sharply or beautiful it shines.
Right.
Didn't know that. Had no idea. And this is the price difference. You ever, well, some diamonds are really expensive, and then your wife won't let you buy the $100 one? Because the most expensive ones are the best cut diamonds. The least expensive have been poorly cut. So it all has to do with the cut. So if a guy's cutting a diamond and he makes a mistake, that's going to cost him. But the guy that cuts it pristine and perfect and the light hits it just right, that will sell for ungodly amounts of money. So, you know, because you've always thought it was about the rarity of the diamond. It's actually about the cut of the diamond that increases or decreases the value of that diamond. And I don't know about you, but I don't know of a woman that doesn't want an engagement ring to sparkle, that wants some kind of shine to it. When the light hits it, they want it to, I mean, if you don't believe that, go spend 5 minutes with my mom. She looks like, well, what is that stupid movie that I hate? Twilight. You know, when they walk in the sun and they just glisten and glow and glitter. Yeah. But here's what Solomon is saying. This is what the intro is. This is like a beautiful cut diamond that is formed by pressure and polish and friction and the things that go through it that make it beautiful. Is this: that there's not a person in this room, there's not a person in this world that doesn't wake up just one morning and have amazing character, that has an amazing walk with God, that just all of a sudden wakes up and they're just totally different. No, it takes some cutting. It takes some pressure. It takes some friction. It takes a pristine maker to cut off the edges and to cut the things in our lives to allow us to shine the way that God's called us to shine. And that's what Solomon is going to talk about this morning, is that character doesn't just evolve out of nowhere. That it's not just you wake up with no character one day and the very next you have all this character. But this is what Solomon's going to teach us in chapter 7, is that character is born or developed by adversity. There's an old school saying, the school of hard knocks. That you don't learn when it's easy, but you learn the most in life when it's hard. That when you're going through stuff, you tend to learn the most. It has been said that adversity has the potential to create greatness in a person. You'll never find anybody in your life that, whether it's a role model that you know personally or someone that you don't know but you see that is a role model to you, that you assume to be great, that has not gone through some kind of trials, tribulation, pain, sorrow, suffering, and loss. And it's not that they haven't gone through those things, it's how they handled them that made them great. It's about handling that made them great. Solomon says, adversity is better than prosperity. How can this be? Why is adversity better than prosperity? I believe Solomon gives 2 verses. We're going to read the first 4 verses of Ecclesiastes 7. Let's read them together, the first 4 verses. It says this: a good name is better than precious ointments, and the day of death is better than the day of birth. It is better to go to the house of the mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of face the heart is made glad. The heart of the wise is in the house of the mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of the mirth. Now this is so contrary to what we believe. Do it. Sorrow is better than laughter. You know, I'd rather be mourning than celebrating. I'd rather do this than go to the feast. Solomon really hitting us hard with these opposite ideas. I don't know about you, I don't like sorrow. I don't like suffering. I don't like crying. I don't like pain. I don't like the fear of losing somebody. I don't like those things. But for some reason, in these 4 verses, Solomon's saying it's better. It's better. It's better. And when you're in the middle of adversity, pain, sorrow, loss, you know it sure don't seem better. Anything else seems better than what you're currently going through. But Solomon's going to put that on his head and show us why those can be better. The first reason Solomon says adversity is better than prosperity, number 1 is this. Adversity stimulates or creates an eternal perspective. Adversity should put your mind on heavenly things. Adversity here on earth should make us long for our home in heaven, should draw us closer to Jesus. That when you go through things here, it should draw you closer to the Lord. Keep your mind on heavenly things. I don't know about you, but growing up as a kid, and my kids will tell you this too, some of the medicine that tastes the worst helps the best. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. They try to dull that up over the years with berry flavor and gum flavor, and it all still tastes nasty. Medicine's just nasty. No matter what kind of flavor you put on it, it's just nasty. But it seems like the grosser it tastes, the better it helps. The grosser it tastes, and Solomon's going to kind of say the same thing. Sometimes in life, guys, sometimes the hardest things help the most. Some things in life that leave the worst taste in your mouth actually produce more character than anything else. And we have to go through the really hard, and it's interesting that we got through, I was like, Lord, you're hilarious, because we're going to go through this chapter this week. You're funny. Okay, let's do it then. But Solomon, I don't remember if you remember last week, he asked this question in Ecclesiastes 6:12. He asked this question. He says, for who knows what is good for a man during his lifetime, and what is good for him during the few years of his futile life? So that's what he asked in chapter 6. He's going to answer it here in chapter 7. He gives 7 things that are better than Proverbs, which is he's comparing to his own question. In fact, in this chapter, the word good or better will appear 11 times in chapter 7 alone. 11 times in this one chapter, he will say that things are good or better. 11 times. When bad is better. In the first 4 verses, Solomon is telling us this one thing. That you know what is good? We gain information when we take a sober view of sorrow and death. But as human beings, you know what we don't like to think about? Death. When somebody else dies, our own death, we never really, and especially the younger you are, the less you think about it. I think about it now more than my 6-year-olds do, but I can guarantee you those that are older than me think about it more than I do. But it's healthy and it's a good reminder to think on those things, and Solomon's saying that it's actually better to remind yourself. It's sobering. Just yesterday, I had to do a funeral for my cousin. He just turned 31. 31 years old. We did his funeral yesterday, and for me, that was a sober reminder that could have been me. But by the grace of God, my mama could have been his mama, sitting in the front row crying because I did something stupid, and there goes my life. And it was a sober reminder to me that you got a short time, and that even though I'm 32 and at times I feel really old, I'm really young, and God's not done with me yet. And I got a lot, and neither is it with you. You got a lot of life left to live. Whether you're 30 or 60 or 70, God says, I'm not done yet. The few years, whether it's 30 seconds, I've given it for a reason. And whatever you have left is for a reason. And that's what he reminded me yesterday. Is that whatever I've given you left is for a reason. Read the first verse, the very first part. He says, a good name is better than precious ointment. He starts off this whole section by going into a name. And you know what he says? He's not just talking about your name, he's talking about your reputation. This is talking about your reputation. It's better than good ointment. And that word there means perfume or cologne. So he's saying this, your reputation is greater than your cologne or your perfume. And what he means by this is that really bad people that have really bad character or really bad morals can really look and smell good on the outside. Think about it. You think about car salesmen or people that try to sell you things or manipulate, they dress real nice. Think about, I don't know if y'all, but Benny Hinn's been busted in the last couple of weeks. Oh yeah, he's nailed to the wall. But you know what his thing was? $1,000 suit. It's slick. Always looking good on the outside, smelling good on the outside, but on the inside, had no character. Jesus said the same thing to the Pharisees. Remember? He said, you're whitewashed tombs, but you carry dead man's bones. I mean, you've learned to bleach your hair and to put on the finest of clothes and to be accepted by culture, but inside you are dead. You are dead men walking, yet you look and smell so good. This is what Solomon's saying. Your reputation of who you are and what your character is greater than how people are reminded of how you smell and how you dress and what the outside looks like. I find it very interesting that we in this culture have flipped it around. It's not about character. It's about buying the best and looking the best. It's very flipped. The point of this proverb is this. All of it is this. The character of one's reputation is more valuable than the enduring scent of perfume or cologne. It's bigger than that. See, this is what Solomon's saying, is that your name will live beyond the grave. But you know what happens when you die? You start to what? Smell. You naturally stink. You know why? This is interesting. You know why you stink? It's because sin stinks. Think about it. Sin is disgusting and decaying. It brings forth death, and that's why our bodies rot. Because you know what? God didn't create our bodies originally to decay, to smell, to do anything of that nature. But because of sin, it rots and destroys. And that's why we try to cover up smell. Right? We get them embalmed. We do all these things to try to prevent the stench. Or we cremate them or whatever. Because we know in a few days, man, they might have smelled good while they were alive, but you give them 3 days and you ain't going to want to be around them. But that's what Solomon's saying. You've got to worry about what's in you. Your character, your name, your reputation. He asks this question. Who we are, he says this thing, who we are is more important than what we have or do not have. So the question Solomon asking, the very first question, the very first verse is this: what about you? What about me? As a husband, as a father, what is my reputation? When people hear my name, what do they think? Well, I'm not supposed to care what people think. And yes and no. If you want to reach people, you better care. Now, you don't make your decisions based upon God's word, based on public opinion or what they think. You follow God's word always, but we need to care what people think because that's the way we reach them. You can't have this arrogance about you. That's not. Jesus cared what people think. He asked Nicodemus, "What do you think it means? What do you think?" He asked Peter, "Who do people say that I am? Who do you think that I am?" Jesus cared what people think, but it did not drive his decisions. He just got information so he can present the truth. So what about you? When people hear your name at work, what do they think of? When they hear your name in the neighborhood or in your church, or most importantly, in your home, in your private one-on-one relationships, what does your name mean? What does your name carry? How much weight is in your name? Are you seeking to hold your name and your reputation above everything else? Are you an inspiration to those younger than you? Are younger men and women, if you're a woman or a man, if you're, are the younger, the peers, the people that are younger than you in your life, are you somebody that they can look up to, someone they aspire to be, someone they can say, man, when things are tough, I can go to that person, I can see that person. Does your name mean anything? Well, Solomon says it should. Your name should have value. Your name, your reputation should be the most important thing to you. I tell my boys all the time, they're my Laughlin boys, you got to live up to your name. I told you this yesterday. You make me and your mom proud, but most importantly, make Jesus proud and live up to your name, Christian. So guys, it's not enough just to be given your firstborn name by your natural parents, but if you've been given a second name, a new name, a born-again name, guess what, guys? You better live up to that new name. You better live up to the name Christian. You better live up to the name that God says you are my child. That is not a name we should just take lightly. No, we're a child of the King, so what does that mean? See, the world and the Christians, we've just given it away. It has no value anymore. Guess what, guys? To be called a Christian in this country now means nothing. Zero. Just, a bigot and, closed-minded. That's all we are. There's no hope in being a Christian anymore. There's no salvation. It's just intolerance. And that's because Christians have become that. We've given it that way. Guys, Solomon starts off this, that you can have the wealth of the world, but if you don't have a good reputation and a good name, you have nothing. If you have all the world, but your wife hates you, who cares? You've gained nothing. If you could buy your kids anything they want, but they cannot stand to be in the room with you 5 minutes, you have gained nothing. You gained nothing. Solomon concludes the first verse saying this: and the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. So he starts off saying, what's in your name? What's your name hold? What value does your name have? What does your reputation look like? And here's what's more important. The most important day in your life is not the day you were given your name, but the day your life ends. We were talking about that just in the nurse before churches, in marriages and life. A lot of times when you get married, you're worried all about what? That marriage day, right? All the money, all the planning, all the prep goes into that marriage. And a lot of couples spend a lot of time beforehand during the engagement time preparing for that single day. But you know what they never get thought of? The last day. What do you want your marriage to look like on this last day? When it's all said and done in the marriage and you die, it's the last day you can say to your spouse, what do you want that day to look like? Are you working towards your last day? And how you and the Lord want it to look. And that's in every relationship. That's in work. That's in your home. That's in your church. You work towards the last day of how you want it to look. There are 2 days in our lives when your name is most prominent. The day you receive it, the day of your birth, and the day it appears in the obituary card. You will never be more famous than that. The day you're born and the day you die. What happens between those 2 days is either a beautiful fragrance before the Lord, or he says it's a foul stench. Whatever happens between life and death, whatever's in between is either beautiful or disgusting before the Lord. I hit a lot on that this morning, but I forgot to bring the whiteboard up there. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon says this: we shouldn't be hesitant to talk about death, but we shouldn't laugh about it either. Joke about it. Have you ever noticed, and you're going to have to preach in this in mind's eye because I forgot, the way we mark a person's lifespan? So if you've got, let's say, Cody, I was born July 12th, 1985. And let's say today's the day I die. What goes in between?
The dash.
A dash, and then what would be today's date?
17.
The 21st. May 21st, 2017. Right? So it would be the day I lived, a dash, and then the day that I died. Y'all with me? We've all seen it 100,000 times. Looks like this. Born September 2nd, 1985. Dash. You know what that dash represents? His entire life. His entire life is summed up in a dash. He was born on this day. Then a bunch of stuff happened, and he died on this day. Man, we have summed up life in a dash. But you know what? That's pretty biblical. Because Solomon agrees that this is that life is a quick dash between birth and death. Because he over and over says it's a quick breath, it's a vapor. Here one day, gone the next. That life is fast. It says this, that all the reputation you will ever build is summarized between a simple line between 1 year you're born and the day you die. Well, you know what that means? It doesn't matter what year you're born or what day you die. This is what Solomon says. It's not enough time to serve God. It's not enough time. None of it's enough time. I don't know about you, but I often feel that way. I need more time. I need more time in the day. I need more time in the office. I need more time on the job. I need more time with my kids. I need more time. Don't you ever feel that way? I need more. I need 27 hours in a day. That would really help me a lot. I need more sleep. I need more this. I need more that. But Solomon is leading into this thing. Adversity is better than prosperity. Verse 2. He says, it is better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting, because that is the end of every man, and the living takes it to heart. You know what Solomon says here? Something crazy. Solomon says this, you're better off going to a funeral than to a party. Solomon says it's better to go to a funeral than to a party. Now, if I extended you guys an invitation for this next weekend, that Friday night we'd be having a party, and Saturday morning we'd be having a funeral, which would you be more likely to attend or want to attend? The party. Not the funeral. Solomon says it's the other way around. We should skip the party and attend the funeral. What? This is why. Because Solomon's relaying some very bad news for everybody. You're going to die. I'm going to die. Death is certain. I looked up the death ratio in Garland, and guess what? It's 100%. Everyone who's ever been born in Garland, given enough time, to die. There's no one that's outlived anybody. They're all dead. You're going to die. There's not enough jogging, liposuction, plastic surgery, pills, brown rice, herbs, vegetarian, meat. It doesn't matter. The destiny of every person, no matter how healthy or unhealthy they are, during that space, you'll die. Solomon said, we will die. You're given a name and then you die. What does your name mean? Death is coming. We don't like death, but here is what the wise person does with death. Death causes the wise person to live. That's what Solomon says. He says, death causes, the promise of death, the certainty of death will cause the wise person to live life to the fullest. To make the most of life. Not to fear death, but to fear living. That most people are not just afraid of death, but because of death, they're afraid to live. They don't live to the fullest because they're afraid they're going to die. They fear the day that's coming, so they don't enjoy today. Solomon says, forget that. Enjoy today because it's all you're promised. You know you're going to die. Just set it in your mind that one day it's coming for me. Get it out of the way. Enjoy today. Get about what God's called you to do today. Wise people go to funerals to pay attention. See, I noticed yesterday there were some people here that were here because they had to be. There's some people here because Christmas meant a lot to them. But for a few people, I can see it in their minds. Because I knew a few of them came in high as a kite. And they were sitting out there in bloodshot eyes and just jacked up. But I really wanted them to listen. You know, what happened, they're sitting at their cousin or their friends or family members' funeral who died of an overdose of meth and heroin. And they walk into his funeral on the same stuff. And I wanted them to be wise for a moment and say, there's no hope there. There's nothing in that for you but this. Your death is certain, but it'll come quicker for those that live that way. And Solomon is saying this, that sometimes, guys, we hate going to funerals, but you know what they do? They do stir in us that life is short. They do stir in us that, man, I need to love a little more. I need to say I love. I need to do things a little different. I might be a little softer. I need to make a phone call. I need to give a rose while I can, because dead noses smell no roses. Solomon says this, that wise people number their days, but they make the most of their time. I think anybody that tries to make most of their time, they're often irritated by people who waste their time. Right? That's why laziness frustrates you. You come home and you've been doing stuff all day, nothing's been done. It can bother you, right? I found this interesting when I was reading about some old churches in New England. And I didn't notice this, but do you guys know why that in New England, in particular, but over there in Europe, if you notice the old churches, what's right behind them? Cemetery. Yeah, a cemetery. Did you know why there's a cemetery there? I didn't either. Maybe they didn't know better than this. Check it out. The windows in the old school New England churches, the high glass is all stained, but the bottom glass that you can see out first floor is all clear, new glass in the old New England churches. And they did this so that the pastor, as he preached, could visibly see the graveyard. This was intentional. Because he wanted to communicate to the congregation a very serious message that God was communicating to him. That as he preached to his congregation and he would look out into the glass and see the cemetery there, this is what happened. And I think it would be a good thing to do, but it wasn't for the congregation as much as it was for the pastor. It reminded him over and over, every Sunday, every time he got to the pulpit, the seriousness of his call. That when he looked out at the congregation, he saw the living, but when he looked through the glass, he saw the end. And that was the space between here and there. And he said, you know what? The time you have in here is the only time you have promise before you end up out there. And it reminded the pastor the seriousness of God's calling on his life. And that his time was short. And that it had to be given to the people quickly. See, wise people number their days and make the most of them. See, the pastor, as he would preach, he would remind the people that everyone who sat in the pews before him each Sunday would eventually fill a space behind him in the cemetery. I'm learning as a young pastor that I think I would prefer to preach a funeral than a wedding. Sounds crazy, huh? But I'm dead serious. I have seen more heartfelt responses to the gospel at a funeral than I ever have at a wedding. People are ready at a funeral. People are not really listening at a wedding. Think about it. You can reach people at a funeral way more than at a wedding. Both need the option and opportunity, but for some reason, I'd rather preach a funeral. I'd rather preach a funeral. And I believe Ecclesiastes, even though it's a morbid viewpoint, proves my point. Because you know what? When I'm at funerals, people appreciate it. They tend to listen more. But aside from all that, funerals just remind everybody that life is short and we need to think seriously about our lives. Read the next two verses. Solomon wrote 3 and 4. Sorrow is better than laughter, for when a face is sad, a heart may be happy. The mind of the wise is in the house of mourning, while the mind of fools is in the house of pleasure. See, Solomon is telling us now that there's benefits to sorrow and mourning. I don't know about you, but for me, some of the strongest points that I've grown, or the areas I've grown, have been in the most difficult moments. The most difficult seasons of my life have, at the very end, produced the most growth for me. It's the old saying that you grow in the valleys, not the mountaintops. That during the struggles is when you learn who the Lord is and who you are. That it's hard to grow up here, but you got to go through the difficulties and the valleys and the trenches and the trials, and that's where you produce character. Trial by fire and who you are. And Solomon is saying that we should, and it's very hard, but human nature, those who have been purchased by God through Jesus Christ, we should smile at coming adversity because we know what it will produce. We know what it will produce. Sorrow will make you think about life, its meaning, and our priorities. You know what doesn't? A party. When's the last party you went to and you just thought about the severity of life? The meaning of life? You got some philosophical debate? No. Parties are not intended to do that. They're intended to do the very opposite. Don't think about nothing. Don't care about nothing. Just let go and let free. Sorrow and suffering often brings one to God, while very rarely pleasure does. That's why Jesus said this. It's going to be very hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. You know why? Because they have all the pleasures of this earth. They have everything this world has to offer, so they see no need to come to Jesus. But one who has suffered their entire life, and Jesus offers hope, who is more quickly to respond to the Lord Jesus? The one who needs hope, the one who needs healing, the one who has suffered. But a man who has had pleasure and no real hard days most of his life, you know what he sees? No need for God. I don't need God. My hardest day has been nothing. Life's been pretty good. I don't need God, but someone who's been in the trenches, you know what? They know they need God. Yeah. They can't live this life without Him. That's why Jesus said it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very hard. Adversity is better than prosperity. Imagine reading your own obituary. Think about it. If I say the word Alfred Nobel, does anybody know who that is? Alfred Nobel. You will at the end follow me. That's exactly right. The turn of the 20th century, Nobel's brother passed away. Alfred picked up the morning paper the very next day to see what was written about his brother and was stunned to discover that they had actually written his own obituary. So they didn't write about his brother, they wrote the obituary about him. So there he was living, reading his own obituary. The paper mistakenly printed that Alfred had died, describing him as the inventor of dynamite. Nobel realized the legacy he was leaving was associated with death and destruction. So Alfred had a second chance to rewrite his legacy, and with input from his friends, he decided to invest some of his wealth to honor those who furthered the cause of peace throughout the world. Today, many know Nobel as the one who invented dynamite, but he is otherwise known for his other creation, the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, wow. And that would have never come about had he not written his own obituary. The point of that story is the point of proof that Solomon wrote in the Bible is that every person, great or small, man or woman, you're going to leave a legacy. You're going to leave something behind. When you go, you will be remembered somehow, some way. Your life is going to have a lasting impact, either for your glory or God's glory. It's going to impact the world. there was a challenge made that says that you should create a eulogy that you would like offered at your funeral. Write your own eulogy. First, write a present eulogy, where you are right now in your life. And in that eulogy, where you are in your life, write what your wife would say about you. Write what your kids would say about you. Write what your coworkers would say about you and your neighbors. And lastly, write what God would say about you. Then, write your future eulogy. And compare the two. What would they say? Adversity is better than prosperity. World War II. I learned a lot during this. But during World War II, there were the Japanese attacked Allied forces, and there were certain kind of pilots that they were given a crazy name. Y'all remember what they were called? Kamikaze pilots. Yeah, suicide. Kamikaze pilots. These pilots believed in what they called Shinto philosophy. Is that you were honored in death if you died in battle. That there was no more honorable death than dying in battle. That's still a very high Japanese culture and idea. So what they would do is they would commit suicide by flying their bomb-laden planes into targets. So a pilot would get into a plane with a bomb, and it's a one-way ticket. Kind of like the suicide bombers of 9/11 of today's terms. They got in the plane, they put the bombs in, and they knew that there was no going home. One mission, one target, one life, one time. But in World War II, these were called kamikaze pilots. And it happened over and over and over again. What I found interesting was this, though, that even though these people volunteered to be kamikaze pilots, the people that were superior didn't trust them completely. Because human nature has a tendency to want to back out. You know, like, start, I don't think I'm fully committed, bro. This is a huge commitment, like the pig and the egg story, you know. One has to give their life, the other one just lays an egg. You know, it's one's commitment. And this is what they would do to ensure that these guys wouldn't get out. Check this out, it's awesome. Once the pilots were situated in their seats, they would permanently weld shut the cockpits. They would seal the doors from the outside. So once the pilot sat in, you're sealed. You're sealed, no getting out. So even if you decide not to fly your plane, guess what you're not doing? Getting out. You will die in the cockpit. And then they would come and rip the top off, take your body out, and reuse the plane. So once you sat down, guess what? You were committed. You were committed. They would seal the plane. Then this is what else? Check it out. They would permanently seal the cockpits closed prior to their departure. The planes were given only enough fuel for a one-way journey from the ship to the target. No flying. You weren't getting there halfway, chickening out and coming back. Only enough fuel to make it from where you were to your target. The fate of the kamikaze pilot was sealed before he ever left the ground. I wondered, no matter what they believed, a guy, a young person, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, what would be going through their mind in a moment like that? You know they had to think about what was going to happen to them. You know but you know what you know they didn't do? Is you got to know that they shut out the idea of any kind of death in their mind. You know what? They focused instead on the mission at hand. The glory that was to be had theirs in an honorable death. They didn't fear the moment of death. They rejoiced in the honor that they thought they were going to receive. Guys, I say the kamikaze pilots. I say all of these things because you know what Solomon's doing? He's paralleling that with our own lives. And the Christian life in particular. Here's what he's saying, is that Solomon says this, we've got kamikaze Christians. We've got kamikaze Christians, and this is that our being has been permanently sealed inside our bodies. That God gave us a soul. And what is inside, or what is the housing of our soul? This body. And it's been sealed. And check it out. We've only got enough fuel to make it a 100 years at best. God's filled up this body. My soul is sealed inside, and I've got enough fuel to make it for however long God's called me to live. But here's what happens. at the end of my mission, at the end of my life, at the end of it all, death is waiting for me. Like the kamikaze pilots. And choose not to rather, and this is what the pilots did. They didn't want to think about death, but rather the mission at hand. They wanted to think about the big project at work, your vacation plans for next month, the term paper due on Tuesday. So many things are constantly on our minds, and we never really stop to think about death. But besides that, who wants to think about death anyways? But failing to think about death usually means that we fail to think about life. You never stop to think about the last days. It'll never help with today. Adversity stimulates an eternal perspective. But number two, the last one. Adversity cultivates godly character. Adversity cultivates godly character. We'll see that in the last verses. Adversity cultivates godly character. I've loved this statement. Salvation is awesome in the fact of this, that Jesus loves you wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are, what you've done, where you've been, however you come, wherever you meet Jesus, Jesus loves you exactly where you are. But there's a side B to that. There's the other side of the coin, is that Jesus loves you enough, He will never leave you where you are. Jesus' intent when He found you, He's not going to leave you where He found you. You should not come and encounter a saving experience with Jesus as one way, and 10 years from now be that same person. Jesus' goodness and grace and mercy and love will change you. God loves us too much to let us remain where we are. Let's read verses 5 and 6. It is better to listen to the rebuke of a wise man than for one to listen to the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorn bushes under a pot, so is the laughter of a fool. And this is too vanity. Solomon is making a contrast to the meaning of his praise and laughter of fools to the crackling of thorn bushes under a pot. I had no clue what that meant. Y'all know? When you read that, you're like, what? That makes zero sense to me. The crackling of thorn bushes under a pot. So I had to research it and say, okay, well, what the heck is that talking about? Check it out. It's a culturally relevant comparison that we here today, in 2017, we don't have a clue what it means. I didn't know what it means. This is what it means. Branches of a thorn bush were thrown on a fire, or when thrown on a fire, will flame up with rapid intensity, providing a short, hot burn. If you needed to heat up something quickly, instead of preparing a fire for slow cooking, you would just throw these thorn branches on the fire. So they heated up quick, but guess what also they did? They burned up. They didn't last. You couldn't cook for a long time. They were there and then they were gone. Solomon uses to illustrate this, to say that the praises of fools, the praises of those around you who don't know God, who don't love God, who praise you with their empty words, is quick, hot, and showy, but it's gone very quickly. Yet we constantly wake up and live every day for the praises of fools. We want this world to applaud us. We want those around us who don't know Jesus to approve of us. We want the culture to love us. We want people around us to give us this and this. You know what he's saying? It's like those thorn bushes. They heat up, they're showy, they're real, man, for a moment it's awesome, but you know what? It's gone the very next one. Its flame quickly rises, but also quickly dies. And then, you know what? You know what they were looking for? You needed something else to put on the fire. Think about it. If you do thorn bush, yeah, that's a great fire. It lasted all 30 seconds. Guess what they were looking around for next? We need something to keep the fire going. You guys, we're the same way, aren't we? Our life is full of throwing things on them. And they light up real fast, they burn hot, and then you know what? They're gone. And it leaves us looking around in life going, okay, what else can I throw on the fire? What else can burn quick? What else can burn bright? Because that didn't last long. It looked good for a while. Kind of like lighter fluid. I love playing with that stuff. But isn't that interesting? As soon as you put it on, but then what? It's gone. Solomon says that a lot of times we use the things that God's given us like that. We're using the gifts of God like lighter fluid. We throw it on there, and instead of, it lights for a little bit, and there's no substance, there's no longevity until you learn how to build a fire the right way. And so you know that there's a right way to create a fire, to cook on or to remain hot, that it can burn for a long, long time. It has to do with how you place the sticks and the logs and letting air and circulation and your foundation. Or you can be that guy that constantly just buys 20 things of lighter fluid and just constantly burn it and burn it and burn it because you don't know how to light a fire. Solomon's saying life's a lot like that for some people. He's saying this, that the praises of fools is like that. Banking your wealth or your who you are, your character on what people say about you will burn up quickly. The rebuke of a wise man, however, guys, the praises of fools will burn up quickly. Or someone who loves you enough to get in your face, that can change your life forever. That's Solomon's point. Would you rather have 100 fools singing your praise, or one person who loves you enough to say when you're acting like a fool? He says the one person who's bold enough, brave enough to stand you and I and say you're acting like a fool is way more valuable than 100 fools who sing your praises. I'm going to get a little honest here. In the past few months, my wife has been helping me work through some of my weaknesses. Dee, in a very strange way, has the gift of discernment. So she gives me insight. Because she knows me better than anyone else. And she has the ability at times when others can, and I'm struggling with, to help me through my own weaknesses and sins. And guys, your wives need to know your weaknesses. Your spouses need to know your weaknesses and sins. Because they're the best ones to help you through that. And a lot of times my wife sees them before I do. I'm struggling in this area. I'm not making a wise choice here. And it helps me. God, and I realized this. I wrote this in here. I can't imagine not receiving my wife's input in my life. I'm actually mature, I think maybe mature enough now where I value what she says. When I was younger, and I'll be honest, my first marriage, I just dismissed it. You're younger than me, you're dumber than me, you don't know what we're talking about. I'm smarter than you. I've got, I know. Oh man, we got home. You better listen to this little 5-foot thing. Because I believe the voice of God comes through our spouses oftentimes when we're not listening. And I believe that God allows even sickness and suffering and sorrow in certain situations to keep us listening. Think about it. Because some of us in this room, or some people that we know, they wouldn't listen to the Lord if they were not in the current situation they were in. It keeps them close. It keeps me close. Husbands, are you man enough to welcome a rebuke from your wife? Can you receive a rebuke from the person you love and who loves you the most? If not, why not? If your wife has the courage to lovingly lay you out, why can't you lovingly receive it? Mostly because it's your pride. Yeah. It's your pride. My pride. The pride of saying, you're right. Yeah, I hate that. I shouldn't have handled it. You're right. You know what really stinks is when I find out my way is not the best one. And my way is not even a good way. This is what I found out. God wants us to hear from our wives because she may be the only person courageous enough to speak into your life. And there have been moments in my life where Dee has definitely been that. Been laying down, and she's been bluntly said, I hate to tell you this, but dang, did you have to say it like that? Maybe you're not married in here, or maybe your marriage is healthy and you do it that way. Or maybe you're single. Are you able to receive loving rebuke from a friend or a parent, someone who loves you, without being all offended? Run away. You're judging me, bro. And blah, blah, blah. God says healthy, good rebuke from someone who loves you is good. And you should receive it well. Are you teachable with your dad or mom? And see what's interesting, guys, even though I'm 32 and I no longer have to answer to my parents in the same way that I did when I was 10, 11, or 12, you know what I can still do? I can still learn from them. I can watch their marriage. I can watch how they do their business. I can watch how they give and love and pray. You know what? As their child, I can still be teaching from my parents. And that's what God meant when He gave the fifth commandment: honor your parents. Honor those around you. Because there's going to be a day you no longer have to obey them, but you are forever honoring them. And you should forever remain teachable. Remember the ones who brought you into this life, who love you, and who want the best for you. But you're probably going to say, well, they don't know how to show it. They sure don't show it the way I want them to show it. My wife doesn't love me the way I want her to love me. She doesn't say the things I want her to say. She doesn't do what I need her to do. And that may be the case. But here's what the truth is. This is what Solomon's saying, is you cannot change other people's actions, but you are in total control of your reactions. You cannot control what he, she, or they say, but you are in total control of how you respond. The book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 6, Solomon says this: faithful are the wounds of a friend. Will you receive rebuke from a parent or friend? If you're willing to do that, Ecclesiastes 7 says this, that God will make your character and mold your character and make you into the man or woman that He wants you to be. But if you're not humble enough to receive rebuke, you'll never change. Guys, it's a hard pill to swallow for someone to come and lovingly say, listen, that's probably not wise for you. I'm watching your life, I'm looking into your life, and that's hard, isn't it? Especially when you're born along thinking you're doing all good. And God speaks to somebody, and listen, but this does not give you a license to think that you can walk around and tell people what to do with their lives. Okay? That's the Holy Spirit. But this is for intimate relationships, husbands and wives, or someone that you've allowed to say, listen, you can be that person in my life. Okay? You don't just walk around being the Holy Spirit. But you need one or two people in your life that you have this kind of intimate access. You have the right at any time to blow me up if you think I need it. And the same goes for you in love. Because the whole goal of all of that is restoration, not condemnation. It's to restore somebody back into the walk with the Christ person. Check this out. You ever heard of Mickey Mantle? What sport did he play? Baseball. He tells a story in the biography of when he was a teenager playing in the minor leagues. He began to play very poor. Actually, he was about to get kicked out of baseball. Growing discouraged and feeling homesick and self-pity, one day he tearfully called his daddy. That don't work too good. And he said, "Dad, please, I hate baseball." Sounds like Richard. He strikes out. "I hate it. I'm no good at it." Gets a home run. I'm the best. You're a good pro. But Mickey Mantle called his dad in tears and Dad was tired of it. I love it. I can't play ball. I'm no good. They're going to kick me out anyway. I just want to go home. I don't know about you, but I felt that way sometimes about life, certain situations. I'm ready to get out of here. About your job, your certain situation. Tell the Lord, I'm just take me somewhere else. I'm done. I quit. It's over. I'm no good anyways. They're all laughing at me, mocking me, threatening to kick me out. I'm never going to get any better. There's no hope for me. So Charles Mansell, his daddy, arrived. He didn't necessarily give Mickey the expected sympathy and reassurance he was hoping for. Instead, and this is something very close to what my dad said to me one day in my life, he looked at his son and said this. He said, "Okay, Mickey, If that's all the guts you've got, you might as well come home with me right now and go to work with me in the mines. Meaning that you don't got the guts to be a law man. It's been told to me before, you don't got the guts to be a Christian. You don't got the guts to stick it out when it's hard. You don't have the guts to stick it out when everybody else is saying you can't do it. You don't have the guts to stand alone. And that's what his daddy told him. You don't got the guts to do what it takes to play professional baseball. And I believe that Ecclesiastes song was writing to the church and to the Christian. You don't got the guts to live the life that Paul lived. You know what? Paul made sacrifices, and it takes guts to live that kind of Christian life. It takes guts. Mickey Mantle realized that that was a loving slap in the face. As we know, he got the message. And he went on to make baseball history. But he was, what if Dad said, yeah, you're right, son. Let's just go home. The game of baseball was never been the same. There's a lesson for both sides. Verses 7 through 10, we're almost done. For oppression makes a wise man mad or impatient, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Patience of spirit is better than haughtiness of spirit. Do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for angry resides in the bosom of fools. And do not say, why is it that former days were better than these? You ever heard anybody say, I miss the good old days? Moron. For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. So the first part of those verses is that Solomon, and we're not going to hammer along with this because we did in the first couple of chapters, is that there is oppression in the world. And there is injustice in the world. And you and I just need to get over it. That, you know what you got to teach your kids? Life, not fair. Deal with it. That's life. It ain't fair. Whether you're a Christian or not, life's not fair. It rains on the just and unjust. And if you don't got an umbrella, you're going to get rained on. That's right. That ain't God being angry. You just didn't bring your umbrella. I mean, come on. We take natural things that God does, and because we don't make the right choices, then we blame it on Him. I'm going to send rain. You have the ability to, it's not going to rain. I'll take my chances. Well, then you're going to get caught in the rain. You can't blame God when it starts raining. Okay? That's the first part. What I wanted to get to this part is why Solomon emphasizes patience. And I love saying, Richard, you got to be patient. I don't have patience. That's what his answer is. I don't like patience. Because listen, the Western culture, Americans in particular, we've lost the taste. We've lost what it means to be in something for the long haul. Look at marriage. Marriage is no longer for the long haul. It's no longer until death do us part. It's till you annoy me. It's till I find something better. It's till the convenience is gone. I mean, marriage is gone. Marriage is gone in America for the long haul. Because you know what? We've trained, even my kids, and I'm guilty in some way, but in Western culture, you know what we want? We want everything to win. Now. We crave instant coffee. That thing back there is too slow.
Yesterday.
Right? How many of you got a Keurig? I start there ready, and I got a hot cup of coffee in about 20 seconds. And whatever flavor I want, I got to wait on that thing. Because all the old ones cook too. It's all about me. The other 10 people who want a cup of coffee. I don't got time for all that. We want fast food. This is that's a sin for me at times. Fast food. Because it's convenient. And even with, a lot of times that I eat dinner with my family, we eat around fast food. And I get convicted on that sometimes. And then I'll tell Dee, and we try to cook food for the wife. But either way, we want everything fast. One of my favorite meals is popcorn. Because in about 2 minutes, I got it.
Right.
I love it. I eat it every night. Ice cream. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming, dude. It's already there in a way that I've never seen before. It's freaky. You look at it, what? You know what you do? You just go buy bigger shirts. You cover it all up. And You go to the gym a couple times and think you're going, your whole life's gonna change. I don't worry